Good evening, Robert Scribbler. It is August 16th, 2018. Thank you for joining me for another climate change and clean energy video blog. Now for this segment, I'm going to talk about one of the many actions that we can all take to help stop the world from warming. Now, it's critical that our civilization moves away from energy systems that burn fossil fuels and toward clean energy systems, as we also look at attempting to rejuvenate the natural environment and look at other ways of drawing down carbon from the Earth's atmosphere. But the primary issue that we are most concerned about at present is the 40 billion tons of CO2 equivalent gases, including about 35 billion tons of CO2 that enter the atmosphere each year from activities mostly related to fossil fuel burning. Now, one big response that was spearheaded by 350.org and Bill McKibben was the Divestment Campaign. And this campaign aimed to get individuals and institutions to take their money out of publicly funded fossil fuel-based companies and hopefully invest them in climate solutions related companies that either supported clean energy or supported other forms of climate solutions. Now, this divestment movement was critical because it did two things. First off, it called out industries that promoted fossil fuel burning and high carbon emitting activities as amoral to our civilization and as putting our civilization at risk. And this was a very important step in climate activism, enabling pretty much anyone that saves money to put their money to better use and to send a signal to corporate leaders by moving their money. And a big announcement recently was that total divestment from fossil fuels has passed the $6 trillion mark. And if you look at the fossil fuel divestment phase, the page, the GoFossilFree page, from 350.org, looking closer, we find that a total of $6.2 trillion is the present approximate value from institutions who have divested from fossil fuels. A total of 902 institutions have committed to divesting, and another 58,000, more than 58,000 individuals have divested another $5.2 billion. And if you look at this graph, you can see the segment, and it's worth noting that faith-based organizations lead the pack for institutional divestment. And I think this is very important from a moral standpoint. It shows that faith-based organizations are doubling down on their commitment to protect a living earth and a living environment, which is a religious imperative for many groups. It's also worth noting that governments are starting to become a major contributor to the divestment movement, as are schools and other educational institutions. Now, there's still a lot of ground to be gained, but just comparing where we were, say, for example, a few years ago, this divestment movement is really gaining steam. And I encourage you to consider divesting your own pension funds and savings from fossil fuel-based investments and transferring them to clean energy or other climate crisis solutions-based organizations and corporations, things like institutions that promote vertical farming or sustainable agriculture, and of course the institutions that and corporations that support things like wind, solar, electrical vehicles, and other forms of renewable energy that emit zero carbon. So just a snapshot of the present state of play when it comes to divestment. A key social progress goal in confronting human-caused climate change and ensuring that we come to a place where we stop the warming that we are seeing now and the related severe and increasingly extreme impacts. Thank you for joining me, and I'll be chatting with you soon.